Alright guys, so now we want to work on the edit functionality. So if I click the edit icon, we have the ID in the URL, but we're not getting the data. We're not getting the user or contact. So we want to create a new action type called get contact. And we're also going to have one called update contact for when we actually submit the form. So let's go to our types file and let's copy this down twice. And this one's going to be get contact. And this one, let's just add this for now. We'll say update contact. And let's save that. Okay, so now let's go into our actions, contact actions, and we want to fetch, basically we want to fetch a single contact. So we'll put this, let's put it right under get contacts. And actually, you know what I'll do is just copy this whole thing and paste that in. Let's get rid of the S, so it's just get contact. And we're going to have an ID. We're going to send an ID so that we know which contact to grab. And then the request, I'm going to turn this into a backtick here and here so that we can put the ID in. So we'll say slash and pass in ID. And the type is going to be get contact. And we're going to return, the payload is going to be the data return, which is going to be the single contact. So that's our action creator. Let's save that. And let's see, get contact is not defined. That's because we have to bring it in. So let's go ahead and bring in get contact, and let's bring in update contact. So we'll save that. Good. So now that we've done that, let's go to our reducer. And we have to handle the get contact type. So I'm going to go right here and create a case for get contact. And let's see, we got to bring it in. Oh, I already brought it in. Might as well bring in update contact as well. Okay, so get contact, what do we want to do here? We want to return the current, we want the current state. So we'll use the spread. And then we also want, we're going to have a state value called contact, which will be an object. And then we're going to fill that with the payload. Okay, so what I'm going to do is add up here to our state, I'm going to add contact, and that will be an object. So that this is the part of the state that will represent the current contact that's being viewed. And if we had like a details page or something like that, we could fill this with the contact as well. But for now, we need it for the edit page. Okay, so it's just going to fill that value, that object with the payload. Okay, that we get from the request, or I should say from the response. So let's save this file, and now we have to make it so that when we have to call get contact and then have it fill our edit form. So let's go to components and let's go to edit contact, and we're going to bring some stuff in. So let's bring in prop types. Let's bring in let's see, we want connect from React Redux. And we also want, excuse me, we also want the action. So this is going to be from //actions/contact actions. And the action that we want is get contact. Alright, so now let's go down to the very bottom and let's export connect. So you can see the pattern here. Once you get used to this, it's pretty easy to understand. Now we're going to want to map our state to props because we have that contact value in our state that we want. So let's say const map state to props, takes in the state. And let's say contact, and we want to map this to state.contact. Now this time it's .contact. So it's coming from the contact reducer in the state, but we want the single contact object. Okay, if we look in Redux here and we look in our state, we have in here we have contact and contacts. Okay, we want the single object, not the array of contacts. So we're assigning that to this .props.contact. And let's pass that in here, map state to props. And then we have our action that we need to add in here, which is get contact. And let's see, let's add our prop types. So we're going to want, let's see, edit contact and dot prop types. And let's set the contact itself, which is going to be an object. So we want to say prop types dot object dot is required, and then get contact. The action is a property, so we want to say prop types dot func dot is required. And I think that's it for now. So now let's go up here and we need to call get contact, right? Because that's what's going to bring in the single contact. So that's going to go inside of component did mount. So let's create that up above. So component did mount, and let's say we need the ID, so we're going to get that from the URL. So let's pull it out of this dot props dot match dot params, get the ID, and then we'll call this dot props dot get contact, and we'll pass in the ID. Alright, so when we do this, it should put it into the props. So we should get this dot props dot contact. That should be a thing. What we need to do then is actually let me just save this and make sure. Okay, so get contact is being called. And if we looked inside here, inside the contact object, we have Leanne, because she's ID number 1. If I go to Erin, go to edit, you'll see down here the diff for the diff it's changed from Leanne to Erin for the name, and it shows you the rest of the fields. Now to get these into here, what I would like to do is take the props and then set them to the state. Okay, so we have this dot contact props, but I want to keep this as a controlled component, so we need the inputs bound to the state. So I'm going to use component will receive props for that. So I'm going to go and say component will receive props. Now if you're in the future, you might have to just add on the flag unsafe underscore component will receive props. Okay, and then this takes in two things. It's going to take in next props and next state. So basically this runs when we fetch our data from the state, our contacts from the state, and we bring it in as a prop. We map it to a prop. This will run, and then we can access that contact prop inside this object here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the name, the email, and the phone. I'm going to pull that out of next props dot contact. Okay, and then I'm going to set it to the state. So I'm going to say this dot set state, and let's pass in name, email, and phone. So that should update the state, and then it should be shown in the form. So let's go ahead and give it a save, and there we go. Let's make sure we can go to some other ones. So Leanne, she gets put in there, and Clementine, awesome. And we can type in here as well. Okay, now if we use get derived state from props, it's a little more difficult because it constantly runs. Even when we just type in, it constantly runs, and you have to kind of mix it with component will mount. Component did mount, and it gets really confusing. So this is the method that I prefer. In the Firebase project, we will be using get derived from state, or get whatever it is. Stupid long name. So now that we have this in here, in the next video I want to be able to actually update. We want to make a put request to the server, and then we also want to have it update here in the UI. So we'll do that next.